One morning, I opened my eyes to see my girlfriend standing silently at the end of our bed, wearing an expression I'd never witnessed before, a strange mixture of sympathy and unexpected liberation. Before I could even form the question, she spoke the sentence that would echo in my mind for months. "I've found my true soulmate." The tone wasn't remorseful or mournful. It carried pure exhilaration, as though she just claimed a long-awaited prize. And somehow I was expected to cheer for her victory. Her name was Monica. We'd shared 3 years together, one of them living under the same roof. I truly believed we were heading toward engagement, a family, the full future. She had a job at a local childcare facility. I handled tech sales. Our days followed comfortable patterns, filled with private jokes and a fluffy cat named Biscuit that she had chosen. Then, on an ordinary Wednesday, the entire foundation crumbled without warning. She introduced him as Hugo, a security officer at the shopping center close to her workplace. They'd been in contact for 8 weeks, she explained, and the bond she felt with him was unlike anything she'd ever experienced, not even with me. When I asked whether she had been unfaithful, she appeared genuinely hurt, as if the accusation was outrageous. "It isn't betrayal," she replied, "when it's meant to be." I sat frozen on the mattress edge, struggling to comprehend how the person I'd built a home with could suddenly recast disloyalty as a profound spiritual breakthrough. She gathered some belongings that afternoon, promising to collect the remainder soon, and right before leaving she paused and delivered the line that still stings. "If you really loved me, you would feel joy for me and my soulmate." The door shut softly behind her, and I remained motionless, staring at the empty spot she'd occupied, as though someone had hollowed out my core. The tears didn't come immediately, shock delayed them, but they arrived forcefully that evening. I phoned my brother. He showed up promptly with cold drinks and takeout. He listened quietly while I tried to articulate how she could depart with such absolute conviction and almost no visible guilt. He remarked that Monica had always carried a touch of theatrics and self-focus, something I'd overlooked because of closeness. Looking backward, I could recall instances when she centered every situation around her emotions, her desires, her personal truth, yet I dismissed those traits as fiery intensity. The following weeks passed in a haze of mechanical habits, heading to the office, returning to an empty apartment, heating frozen meals, steering clear of our cherished dining spots and walking paths, anything tied to memories of her. Acquaintances suggested dating again, insisting a fresh connection would speed recovery, but I couldn't even consider it. I remained fixated on her parting words, that strange ultimatum implying my affection was being judged, and I'd failed by refusing to applaud her departure. I had imagined releasing her gracefully demonstrated wisdom and growth, yet it mainly left me vacant. She sent occasional messages during those early months, practical matters like mail forwarding, Biscuit's vet records, or a forgotten table lamp. Each notification from her name triggered a sinking sensation in my gut. I answered briefly and courteously, never inquiring about Hugo or her happiness, afraid the answer would confirm what I dreaded most. One late-night text around 2 a.m. on a weekend asked whether I recalled the evening we brought Biscuit home. I chose silence, sensing she was probing for weakness, searching for any lingering crack she might slip through. By the fourth month, fragments of my old self began resurfacing. I signed up for a gym membership, took up jogging, shed extra pounds, let my beard grow, every typical post-breakup transformation that, surprisingly, delivered real results. My brother convinced me to attend a live music event one Friday. During an unfamiliar band set, I suddenly noticed I hadn't dwelled on Monica for 3 straight hours. That small realization felt monumental. One weekend morning at a nearby cafe, the exposed brick artisanal kind, I stood in line when the woman ahead turned, grinned, and commented, "You seem torn between espresso and unconsciousness." Her name was Alejandra, a graphic artist with a serene presence that contrasted sharply with everything Monica embodied. We chatted for 20 minutes, swapped contacts, and I walked away noticeably lighter. Our initial outing was casual Thai food downtown. The conversation flowed effortlessly. She posed thoughtful questions and truly paid attention. She required no spotlight, no dramatic framing of every exchange as fate-driven. Alejandra felt solid and independent with her career, her circle, her separate home. She never demanded I patch every void or fix every issue. That straightforwardness felt almost radical after Monica's constant emotional turbulence. We met more frequently, twice weekly at first, then almost daily. 3 months in, genuine contentment settled over me, deeper than anything I'd known even during the good periods with Monica. She avoided manipulation, never played guessing games, never forced me to decode hidden meanings. I gradually quit scrolling her profiles, ceased speculating about her relationship status with Hugo, and stopped mentally replaying that devastating morning. For the first time, forward motion replaced mere endurance. Alejandra met my family and friends. Everyone remarked how well-matched we seemed, steady, compassionate, authentic. One evening, my brother pulled me aside after dinner and admitted he hadn't seen me this at ease in ages, possibly ever. Those words struck deeper than expected because they rang true. Around the 10th month, thoughts of commitment and rings began surfacing naturally, without the old anxiety. I arranged a coastal getaway to a quiet inn facing the ocean. On our final evening beneath a fading sunset on the shore, I proposed. She accepted instantly, her delight simple and radiant, no theatrics, just happiness. We shared the news, arranged an engagement celebration, selected a wedding date, and I sensed the Monica chapter had truly ended. Reduced to a difficult lesson that ultimately guided me toward something healthier. Strangely, gratitude crept in. Without that heartbreak, I might never have recognized genuine steadiness or understood how draining it had been to perpetually soothe someone else's storms. A year after she departed, I was preparing to marry a woman who respected me, who viewed partnership as mutual support rather than a dramatic contest or celestial exam. I assumed her influence on my story was finished. I was mistaken. The engagement gathering was meant to be modest, around 40 guests at a charming downtown venue featuring wooden ceilings and warm lighting. Family and close friends only, nothing extravagant. Alejandra's mother assisted with details. My brother managed the playlist. Everything unfolded smoothly until it didn't. While chatting near the bar with my cousin, I glimpsed her entering. For an instant I doubted my senses, convinced my mind had summoned a ghost from lingering stress. Monica wore an elegant cream dress, suitable for a daytime event or perhaps another person's celebration, and carried herself with an air of rightful belonging, as though she'd received an invitation and merely arrived stylishly delayed. My insides plummeted. Alejandra stood across the room speaking with her sister and hadn't noticed yet. Panic surged. Should I approach Monica first and redirect her? I began moving, but she navigated the crowd swiftly, purposefully. Before I reached her, she'd taken a flute of champagne and stationed herself close to the small platform prepared for speeches. My brother spotted her and shot me a stunned glance. I could only shake my head, still wordless, still planless. She avoided direct confrontation with me. Instead, she lingered, sipping calmly, observing as though the evening concerned her personally. Several attendees recognized her. Puzzled looks and hushed inquiries spread as people wondered why my former partner had appeared, dressed so prominently. My cousin offered quietly to escort her out, but I asked him to hold off, hoping she'd satisfy her curiosity and depart voluntarily. Alejandra eventually saw her, registered understanding, approached me and murmured, "Is that Monica?" I confirmed. She squeezed my fingers and suggested we disregard her until she left naturally. But Monica had no intention of fading quietly. Roughly 20 minutes later, my brother stepped to the microphone to deliver his toast, expressing genuine delight for us. Suddenly Monica advanced, seized the mic directly from his grasp while he froze in astonishment. The entire space fell into that heavy, expectant hush that precedes disaster. She beamed at the gathering as though about to share wonderful tidings, then launched into remarks about romance, redemption, the beauty of returning to what truly belongs together. "Authentic love refuses to surrender," she declared. "The universe sometimes challenges us to prove we'll defend what's real." Horror rose as I grasped she hadn't come to express regret or merely stir attention. She intended to publicly declare her claim. On me. Insisting fate demanded our reunion. Allegendra's hold on my hand grew fierce. I sensed her trembling, not from fright but fury. I knew intervention was essential. I approached the platform, extended my palm for the microphone. Monica paused, eyes bright with anticipation, perhaps believing I would endorse her narrative. I accepted the device, faced the crowd assembled to honor Allegendra and me, people unaware of the full history, and experienced startling clarity. Addressing Monica clearly so all could hear, I said, "You once explained that genuine love means rejoicing when someone finds their destined partner." She recoiled visibly. I pressed on, "Allegendra is that person for me. Please honor that and step out of our lives." Silence gripped the room so tightly a dropped needle would have echoed. Monica's features cycled rapidly: bewilderment, fury, shame, outrage. She erupted, accusing me of selfishness, cruelty, failure to comprehend her, refusal to battle for her, and dooming myself to regret. I remained still, microphone in hand, while she unraveled. Eventually, Allegendra's father motioned. 2 security officers advanced. I recognized the taller one instantly, the same buzz-cut man with the earpiece, Hugo. He'd taken side work at private functions after leaving mall security. The irony nearly made me laugh aloud. Monica noticed him simultaneously, something inside her fractured. She charged, striking his chest, shrieking that he was meant to be exceptional, that he'd vowed eternity. Hugo appeared appalled, attempting to deflect while preserving composure. His colleague assisted in restraining her. She became utterly chaotic, flailing, cursing him as worthless, me as spineless, hurling insults at Allegendra. They finally secured her and guided her toward the exit amid her struggles and outbursts. Every guest watched in frozen disbelief. As they passed, Hugo's gaze met mine briefly. Exhaustion and remorse filled his expression. He seemed to grasp exactly what I'd endured. A silent understanding passed between us. Once the doors shut, the room held its breath another moment. Then my brother retrieved the microphone. "Well, that was certainly unexpected. Let's return to celebrating this couple." Nervous chuckles rippled, dialogue gradually resumed. Allegendra drew me into a side corridor, checked if I was all right. Astonishingly, I was. For the first time since Monica's exit, I'd prioritized tranquility over rescuing her, chosen tomorrow over yesterday's turmoil. She embraced me fiercely, whispering pride. A stubborn knot of old guilt finally dissolved. We rejoined the gathering, surrounded by those who sincerely supported our happiness. Arriving home later, holding Allegendra close, gratitude washed over me for having released Monica instead of clinging to destruction. The following morning brought 17 missed calls from an unfamiliar number and an emotional voicemail from Monica, weeping that I'd shamed her publicly, alienated everyone, shattered her existence. I erased it midway. I believed the spectacle would finally end her pursuit. I was wrong again. 2 weeks afterward, an attorney I didn't know contacted me regarding a pending legal action. Monica had sued Hugo and his employer, alleging unnecessary violence, severe emotional harm, assault, demanding $2 million while portraying herself as an innocent party, attacked without cause at a private occasion. Though not directly named, I feared the fallout might engulf Alejandra and me through testimony, filings, or press attention. I phoned Alejandra at once. Hearing my tension, she urged calm, insisting Monica held power only if we granted it. Still, dread lingered. I'd witnessed Monica reshape reality when feeling injured, casting herself as the injured party until others accepted her version. The security firm assembled counsel. Their attorney requested my account of the evening. Her uninvited arrival, escalating conduct, initiating physical contact with Hugo. I provided a detailed written record, confident their position appeared solid, especially with multiple witness statements aligning with mine. Yet anxiety persisted. Monica possessed a talent for prevailing through manipulation. The matter proceeded to an initial court appearance roughly 4 months post-party. Sleep evaded me during those intervening weeks. Nightmares featured her invading our wedding, endless litigation, viral scandal derailing everything. My supervisor even inquired privately about my distracted state. I summarized without diving into the full soap opera absurdity. Alejandra pressed ahead undeterred, selecting arrangements while I fixated on hearing schedules, discussing travel plans while I compulsively checked for coverage. At the hearing, I sat beside Alejandro in the public section, observing Monica enter in subdued attire and restrained cosmetics, embodying fragility. Her attorney, likely working on contingency, opened by describing unprovoked brutality against a harmless guest, resulting in enduring psychological damage due to inadequate restraint protocols. Defense counsel countered that body camera recordings existed. My pulse surged. I hadn't realized footage captured the incident. The judge permitted playback. The 3-minute clip displayed Monica charging Hugo, spitting, clawing while he retreated and attempted de-escalation. Her shouted insults filled the audio. When it concluded, the judge's skeptical glance toward her side spoke volumes. Monica leapt up, insisting the recording was manipulated, incomplete, part of a cover-up. The judge warned her to remain seated or face contempt charges. Her lawyer argued that prior aggression didn't justify the response level, but the court remained unconvinced. The judge threw out the claim as baseless and misuse of judicial resources, additionally ordering Monica to cover defendants, legal expenses, and issuing an official censure. She exploded in the courtroom, shouting about rigged systems, collusion, universal antagonism, until bailiffs removed her amid threats directed at Hugo, counsel, even the bench. Relief mingled with odd hollowness afterward, like releasing a breath held far too long. Defense lawyers mentioned exploring a countersuit for slander and malicious prosecution. I pledged full assistance. The failed action left Monica burdened with fees, a documented defeat, and a formal note of instability. Word spread she lost her childcare position soon after. Parents grew uneasy following online clips of the party incident, deeming her unsuitable around young children. Later reports indicated she'd returned to her parents' home, that Hugo obtained a protective order after repeated unwanted visits, and that she now cleaned offices downtown. Part of me considered gloating over her reversal, but exhaustion dominated, mostly relief that the storm had finally subsided. Alejandra and I married that December in an intimate, tightly secured ceremony with a vetted guest list, and Monica's photograph circulated to staff. We purchased a suburban home, welcomed a rescue dog, began discussing parenthood. Monica faded to an occasional anecdote rather than a living threat. Recently, a friend forwarded a screenshot of her posting vague laments about disloyalty and cosmic payback. I felt no rage, only quiet pity for someone who'd raised her own world pursuing illusions of fate and eternal passion. Alejandra became pregnant in early 2024. Our daughter arrived this January. Holding her in the delivery room, I reflected how vastly different life would have been had Monica remained. Marriage to her would have meant perpetual emotional firefighting, perpetual uncertainty, perpetual eggshells around someone who interpreted every disagreement as existential betrayal. She claimed to chase love, authenticity, fulfillment, but genuine love doesn't leave scorched earth. It resembles Alejandra dozing on the sofa at 3 a.m. while cradling our baby. Its quiet commitment renewed daily, absent spectacle or supposed signs from above. Monica revealed precisely what I wished to avoid. For that painful education, I suppose I owe her a reluctant thanks. But I'll never fully grasp how anyone mistakes turmoil for depth, fixation for destiny, wreckage for devotion. What are your thoughts on this experience? Share below, like if it resonated, and subscribe for additional true life accounts.